Hello everybody and welcome to my hidden cult village build. Now the whole idea behind this build is that the Mothman cultists wanted an area where they could hunt giant creatures and bring them back in a quick order for the Mothman. The issue was whenever they built a stronghold, the Scorch would almost always find out about it. So what they did was they would build trees and build these wooden walls, and it would make it look blended in, and the Scorch wouldn't attack it. Now, if any humans come around, they would pretty much instantly notice because, it's not meant to deter humans, more or less to deter, like, any Scorch that would notice the area, because they're a hive mind. But you might be wondering, how would you enter into this place if it's completely cut off? Well, you'd actually enter here through this ditch. You'd make your way past all of these things meant to deter any creatures coming through. And as you can see, there's a bright shining light, and you'd get blinded by this, and if you were a friend of the Mothman cultists, you would be fine, but if you weren't, well, you'd be pretty much dead within a second. Then after you get through there, like after the checkpoint, this is where the high-level cultists would stay. Like any one of them that can hunt very well, such as Deathclaw, Scorch Beast, you name it, they get special treatment, or they can sleep in here, like in actual beds. Over here is where they would cook any of the food or alcohol they would need. So, just pretty much rip out any meat they need and cook it. Any chems, drugs, you name it, they have it. And here is where they would make any weapons and any adjustments to any of the power armor they've made. And any, modifications they would need. And they even managed to get an aluminum extractor, which is very useful for crafting any of the parts they would need. Or high-level weapons. This is a water purifier. And over here is where they would chill out and hang out for a bit, getting ready for any hunts and such. This is where the low-level cultists sleep, where the ones that, pretty much, they can kill well, but they're just not that worth it. And the ones that really don't do well, they just pretty much sleep on the ground until they can get better. This is the trading area where, if you need anything, you can buy it here. And they even managed to get a artillery piece, which they use to hunt any giant creatures such as Scorch Beast or, anything like that. And they even managed to find a scavenge protectron, which can help clean up their camp and defend it. They even managed to find a bungalow, which they brought back here. And this is where one of the most highest of their order stays, which is their priest. He is given pretty much any amenities he needs to, study about the Mothman. And this is where he studies any things he's found about the Mothman. This is where he would sleep and change or anything. He's even given a little bit of privacy through these borders. And he has his pet lizard named Jerry the gecko. He's pretty chill, you know what I'm saying? Then we make it to the center of the village, and this is where they actually do their hunting, because they figured it would be too, conspicuous if, they were all entering and exiting through the same area. So, they built this. This is where they would have any weapons that they would need to start hunting, any heavy weapons. This is where they'd pray to the Mothman for a good hunt. Then as we enter up here, this is where they'd smear blood and guts on them to stay hidden, mask their scent, and anything they would need. And they would actually drop down from here onto the floor, and they're pretty much given access to wherever they would hunt. They mainly go to the Cranberry Bog area because most of the herbs and creatures that they would want to kill are there, which is very useful. After we make it through here, this is a warehouse they managed to discover here, and one of the main reasons why they built here, and also why they're so successful as the cult. This is a destroyed car that was found here, and this is a small area of worship that they have for the Mothman. Not a lot of effort went into it, but that's because they already have one that's way more important. Now, when I said why this area was so important to them, I wasn't lying, because once you enter into here, you can see that they have Jerry, the, we don't really know. He doesn't, whenever he does that, he doesn't hurt anything. He just kind of does that for some reason, and we just don't know why. We just let him chill here. But, one of the main reasons why they're so successful is that they managed to find a camp kit, which really helped them build the camp, and they even found a fusion generator, which insanely helps with powering all this stuff. And there's even a vault here, which the cultists have converted into a place of worship. Then, once you enter, you can see this giant cult to the Mothman and everything they have done. This is the starting area where low-level sacrifices are taken. This is just a bunch of pharaohs they've killed. And here is an overgrown area of the vault that just kind of fell into disrepair, but they chose to keep it because it helps them get closer to the Mothman in nature and things like that. These are where some of the better sacrifices would go, and any objects that they found would be useful for Mothman. And over here, they actually have a power generator that does help some above, but helps power a lot down here. And this is where they'd keep anything interesting or just anything that would really help the Mothman. And then, when you make it up here, this is where like the big stuff is. With the creatures that are higher level, just harder to kill in general. They even managed to find a purple-eyed Mothman, which is just like a kind of like the traitor to their order. They have all these creatures that they've killed, and they even have these turrets to help protect the cultists if anything were to come in here, and totally not to, gun them down if the cultists got into a ruler. That'd be crazy. But once you get up here, this is where the main preacher of the Mothman stays and gives his sermons to the people down below. And you might be thinking that must be it, but there's actually more to it. Now you might be wondering, how can this cult be so successful? They have technology that they just would not know how to craft. Well, this is the answer. Once you enter through here, this was actually an Enclave Base of operations. And what happened was, these guys woke up out of cryogenic sleep, and they managed to find these Mothman cultists, and they learned about their religion, so they killed the cultists and started making up their own church of it. But they twisted it to where the cultists would obey their will. And what they've done is they basically made an army to do whatever they want. And so how they've utilized them is that they basically, any super high level kills that the cultists have done are brought into the church and brought into the secret room, where no one's allowed to go except the high priests of the order, which are the Enclave members. And this is where they would study any of the mutated fauna they were given, and try to figure out a way to kill all the wastelanders above without expending any Enclave lives. And this is their energy crafting area, where if they have any weapons or anything such as that. And this is an Enclave turret to help guard the area. And pretty much, this is how the Enclave works. Stay in the shadows, stay secretive, and it's pretty smart. So, that is pretty much the whole entire build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, like and subscribe. And if you have any other building ideas, let me know. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.